The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago, for we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day.
TopLobsta Productions. Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Raven. We almost played that intro 2 times in a row. I had it selected to loop. Yeah, StreamYard has a loop selection. It's got a loop, button. Anywho, before we get into today's show, a little bit of business. Don't forget, you can support the show by going on over to patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. Sign up at whatever tier you'd like. You'll gain access to episodes before the general public. You'll also gain access to unedited episodes. Some of these episodes you listen to on YouTube have certain words cut out of them, and you might be wondering, well, what are those words? What are the words? What's happening? What's being said that I can't listen to? Well, if you go to Patreon, you'll find all the words. You'll also find discount codes off of merchandise from TopLobsta.com, as well as early access to tickets to Bohemian Grove. I got to secure a venue this week. Actually, I probably should do that this week. What's today? Today's Thursday. No, today's Friday? What the hell is today? Today's Thursday. So maybe I should go out tomorrow. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Guys, I'm very excited tonight, this evening. I hope you guys are all doing well. We're going to be focused on the big alien deception. This week, I have a debate coming up with Timothy Alberino, and the very next day, we're going to talk to Fringe, who's been on the show in the past. She is a Christian and an alien abductee experiencer, a victim, really, and she's got some fascinating insight to the divine feminine aspect of this deception. Something that we've been talking about a lot. FJ Fool says debate in air quotes. Yeah. Oh, Dave Burns says we got called out on Owens. Owen retaliated, I think. I haven't seen it, but he didn't like that we were plotting to put him down. He thinks that it's an attack, that grabblers with slingshots are the entire reason that there isn't as many Owen Benjamins as there should be. But it's not that. It's just that I know as you get older, your body suffers when you have gigantism, and I know he's uncomfortable. I seen him when he tries to sit down. It's very painful. And so, what I'm trying to do is keep Owen Benjamin as comfortable as I can for as long as I can. And it weighs heavy on our hearts the day that we're going to have to euthanize him. It brings me no joy. It brings me no joy at all. I love him. And he's been wonderful. I just can't. You don't understand what it's like to watch a thing that you love suffer until it happens. And then when it happens, you start to consider all sorts of things. So I'm thinking, our main methodology that we're kind of looking towards, it probably is going to be a sling. It just seems to work. There's a history of it working. It's my understanding it's very quick. It's virtually painless. And we'll feed him things that he likes in the moments leading up to it. We'll make sure that he's comfy, that he's cozy. And, it'll be a nice send-off. I just don't want him to think that it comes from a place, any place other than love. It's just the nature of big things, gigantic things. They don't last long. They're not long for this world. It's really just a beautiful marvel of nature, but it's not here for very long. Anywho, guys, we're going to be talking a lot about this. Where's the NDS slings, you son of a bitch? I have one in my drawer, and I tried to train with it. By that, I mean, I tried to loose 2 or 3 stones from it. And I said, fuck, this is harder than it looks. And I gave up on it. So in preparation, I would say, for this upcoming debate and then the conversation that we're going to have with Fringe, there's a lot of things that I hope to get through today. I'm going to say I don't know how much we're going to get through in regards to, let me adjust this chat real quick so I could see it for longer. How much we're going to get to the comments today, or not, I'm sorry, not the comments, the, what would you call those things? The voice memos and the calls, because we have quite a bit of content to get through. And you guys know me, I'm very chatty, and it's going to take a lot of time to get through this. So let's see, where would you want to start with this? Give me 1 second. I have a bunch of content in regards to the Bledsoes. Now, the previous episode that we did, we talked about the orb. I made fun of that quite a bit. Turns out there's actually more footage to the orb that kind of does make it look like there might be something discernible within it. You know, we mocked it heavily here, which is really my job. But it looks like there might be a little bit more meat on the bone there. Mike says, hey, Raven, I've been searching for the Nephilim Death Squad's new intro song. Could you put a link where we can buy it? It's not mine to sell. It actually came from Dallas Spitfire on X, who has a podcast. I highly recommend going and checking him out. If you type in Dallas Spitfire on X, you'll find him, and you'll find his show. He said it's still active. So, guys, go over there and support him. But as far as the song goes, there was a time where it was on Spotify, and then it gave us like copyright because it was on Spotify. I'm not really sure where the song is. I know everybody loves the song. We'll figure out how to get it out there. But as of right now, I don't have any details on that. So I have some stuff, more Chris Bledsoe stuff. I guess what we'll do is we'll start here. You know what? Actually, before we get into that, before we bury the lead, I think I want to start with something a little bit more fun and strange. I don't know if you guys have been following the U.S. Department of Labor on X, but they've posted 2 peculiar things, and I want to show you them here right now. So this is one, the Department of Labor on X, on Twitter, and it's a picture of Trump's face, and it says Patriots in control. And I think that we have talked about this. If we haven't talked about it, maybe I talked to Top. I don't know, who I mentioned this to these days anymore. But here we go. This is strange. This is a QAnon slogan, if you will. And many of you who've been following the show, Nephilim Death Squad, for a while now, if you were around during the Dangerous Retards time with me, Top, and Clint Russell, you might remember some of the discussions that I was having where I had my sneaking suspicions that we were actually going to see something unfold on the QAnon front. Now, if you're new to these, if you're new in these parts, let me just preface this by saying I believe QAnon is a psychological operation. Now Q will tell you it's a psychological operation, and the Anons will also echo the sentiment. It is a psychological operation, to wake up the masses and prepare them for, all the shit that is going to be happening, whatever. So, I think it's actually, it's quite clever to admit in your psychological operation that it is a psychological operation, but it's a good one. I don't suspect that that's the case, but whatever. I thought that we were going to see some of these elements that Q was preparing, people for, come to pass. I thought that we were going to see what looked like a triumphant victory on behalf of the Trump administration and all of the patriots who are in control. So now, that didn't come to pass. I still hold out on that. I've been saying that I actually think Melania Trump is going to play some sort of role in this. It's just a gut feeling. I have no information to back that. But this is fascinating. This is fascinating. This is a fascinating thing. At the very least, it is clever and jarring publicity. Right? If you had a publicist, not a publicist, I don't know, like somebody who was in charge of PR, they would say that maybe this is a good move. Really get that part of your you wouldn't even call it a fan base, but the people who are big MAGA enjoyers. Get these folks, the Anons, get them wrapped up in this. So yeah, this is a propaganda piece. Indiana Dave says her propaganda movie just released. Who is that? Are we talking about Melania Trump? Of course, the reason that I think Melania Trump is going to play some role in this is because she was given a Einstein visa, which is a only given to people who have genius level IQs, and it's very strange. Queef Latifah says Melania is 1,000% Q. I think we're saying 1,000% there. So here's another one, though. They just did this one, I think, only an hour ago. So the hits just keep coming. Check this out. U.S. Department of Labor. Trust the plan. Another QAnon slogan. Fucking weird. Is it not weird? Is it not strange? I just think that's real. I mean, and we have a POV that's the back of Trump's head. He's giving a salute. It says, trust the plan. Much of the propaganda pieces, and look, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's all nefarious. Anything that comes from any administration's Twitter page, I'm going to go ahead and call it propaganda. That's just my point of view on things. Much of the propaganda that's been coming out of the Twitter pages of the White House and things like that have been kind of fun. We saw one recently after the capture of Maduro or the kidnapping of Maduro. I don't know how you want to frame it, whatever. It doesn't matter. They did a Biggie Smalls song. What song was it? I forget what it was. Over images of Maduro saying, come and get me. And then, of course, footage of us bombing Venezuela and then getting him. And then, it's just Trump walking in slow motion over this Biggie Smalls song. Cool propaganda. I like it. It's fun. But that's interesting. That is interesting. Give me the loot. No, I don't think it was Give Me the Loot, Still Reserved. I forget what the hell it was. It's a really popular Biggie Smalls song. It's like one of the most popular songs. I forget what the hell it is. We played it on either Neff to America or The Last Raven. But, something to keep an eye out for. Don't get all wrapped up in QAnon, guys. All of this shit is golden apples to bonk. And we don't bonk golden apples around here, but it is fun. Was it Hypnotized? Might have been Hypnotized. 10 Crack Commandments. Are you guys just saying stuff? I don't know. All I know is it's fun. Going back to Cali. Yes, no, I don't know if it is that joke town. If you don't know, now you know, nigga. What song is that? Whatever. Yeah. Indiana Dave says we follow Christ. That's it. Eyes on the prize. The prize is our inheritance. The prize is salvation that's through grace. Focus on Jesus Christ. But have some fun with this. This is fun. Isn't it funny? Juicy. There we go. Thank you, guys. So, at the very least, we can marvel in the fact that the Department of Labor is using QAnon to promote what it's doing. That's fun. That's funny as hell. And maybe we're a little bit further along in the theater of it all than a lot of us suspect. But then again, I said for a while, like I said, go back to yes. The If You Don't Know Now You Know is from the song that's in the same tweet from the White House. Exactly, Gillian. So, like I said, back on Dangerous Retards, I was saying that this was a thing that was going to pass. I said that Trump was going to get back into office. I said that we were going to see the comeback story from the guy that wrote The Art of the Comeback, because it's all theater, and there was going to be a big Q vindication. Jack says, do people still believe in Q? Yes, and for good reason, because Q uses a tremendous amount of truth. I have a feeling in my gut that the Q thing is gonna blend into the alien disclosure thing. That's just what I suspect. Longest running theatrical play ever. Agreed. It's strictly entertainment. Look to it for entertainment, guys, but keep orienting towards God. But the bigger deception, the bigger thing that's happening right now that I wanted to get into is more of the apparatus that is emerging in the way of narrative the narrative apparatus that's emerging. It's fleshing out this story that we're about to be subjected to, surrounding disclosure. So, let's see here. Where do I want to start in this? We have Bledsoe, 10 facts about alien abductions. We got Stephen Greer is back at the helm of the disclosure ship. Got a little alien footage. We got Elon Musk making statements about aliens. And you know what I think we'll do? I think we'll start with this. This is what I'm going to show you here is a clip from a podcast, an episode of American Alchemy. This came out very recently, where Jesse Michaels, I never even heard. I got to admit, sometimes a thing comes across my table, and I go, you ever see an artist, let's say, and, you know, it makes you feel like a little old because you're out of the loop, out of the musical loop, and you go, I've never heard of Ice Spice. I've never heard of, you know, any of these people. But that doesn't stop them from garnering millions of fans. And you know, it's kind of remarkable how somebody who is so popular can you know, kind of go under the radar. This guy, and look, my awareness of him is no measure of whether or not, you know, he's real or deserving of the success or any of these things. But I have never heard of American Alchemy. But, you know, huge show, apparently. He had Joe Rogan on not long ago, right? That's a big deal. Didn't know he existed. Had no idea he existed. But he had Rogan on, and he's had a number of people on. Here he is with Chris Bledsoe. This is a big moment in the UAP community. So it's a post from Interstellar UAP on X. Says, Chris Bledsoe, quote, "The darkness will be exposed." Dark to light. I don't know. Maybe I'm just forcing in QAnon slogans everywhere now. But the darkness will be exposed and the truth will be revealed. 2026 prophecy alert. We got another date. We're setting dates. We love it when we're setting dates in the truther community, which is very gay. But here's another date. We're setting another date, or at least a year. Chris Bledsoe just dropped a bombshell on Jesse Michaels. Michaels. I've never seen it spelled that way. American Alchemy podcast. In 2026, when the blue star Regulus appears on the horizon in the Sphinx gaze, the lady revealed there will be new knowledge for humanity. He speculates it could mean the return of Jesus Christ or something even wilder. What's wilder than the return of Christ? Is this the year everything changes? Watch the mind-blowing clip below. What do you think it's about? Alien disclosure, spiritual awakening, end times? Drop your theories in the replies. Source, Alchemy American. This comes from the Alchemy American. So here we go. Admittedly, never focused much on the Bledsoes before, you know, before his son Ryan was talking about the lady recently. To Jesus Christ. That is that would be crazier. Well, you know, they are gearing up for this divine feminine aspect. Sophia supposedly being the Gnostic revelation of the female counterpart to Jesus. Let me see. That's interesting. Jess and Family says, why is everyone saying gay now? I am behind, but I keep hearing it. I'm confused. I never stopped saying gay. Jess, I've been saying gay since the 90s. So here, let's see what we got going on here. Now, whatever the hell this guy says, take it with a grain of salt. I know he's supposed to be Christian. Well, here, let's just let the video speak for itself. Oh, I clipped on the wrong thing there.
And you received a prophecy about 2026 as well, right?
Yeah.
And what was that?
Well, she said, and I had no idea what it meant. Still don't. Other than she said that when the star of Regulus, which is a blue star, when it appears red on the horizon at the dawn before the sun comes up, and the gaze of the Sphinx. In other words, I saw it in a vision, the whole thing. You can see the Sphinx facing east, and this thing's just cresting the top. She said, when that happens, that will be a sign that ushers in a new knowledge for humanity.
Okay, so, you guys heard that. I'm just going to, before we go any further, say I do believe this guy is having experiences. I don't think he's lying. I'm not saying he's lying. Gillian says one of the most punchable faces ever. I kind of find him endearing. Ronnie. And the gaze of the Sphinx. I find him a little endearing. I think it's a Southern accent. He seems like a nice guy. I don't know much about him. The UAP community is much more familiar with him than I am. Apparently, he's been around for a while. I just, like I said, I saw his son, full of divine feminine energy, meaning homosexual, talk about how the lady is in control, which is I hear that and I go, the lady is in control. Patriots are in control. Everything about my mind is connecting dots that certainly aren't there to Melania Trump. I just think she's going to play a role in this. I think she's going to play a role. That bitch is, supposedly Pleiadian or something. So here, I just wanted to say that, though. I do think that this guy had an experience, but, spirits lie all the time.
So does that mean the return of Jesus or the return of Christ consciousness? It could.
The very big gay Christ consciousness. By the way, this guy has a different set every time I see clips from this show. Which is, Joe Rogan doesn't even have that kind of a budget. Who is this guy? Does anybody in the chat listen to this show or has listened to it for any meaningful amount of time? Seems like a show as big as his would have been on the radar for a while and it would have longtime listeners. Like I said, my lack of awareness of American Alchemist or American Alchemy is by no means a measure of its success or that it's a real show and not some weird Fed plant. But where are the fans of this show? Are you guys in the chat?
And I think that's possible. But it marks a sign, she said, where the darkness would be exposed and the truth would be revealed. So I think we're going to learn something over the next couple of years that, and this was 12 years ago I said this, 13 years ago, 2012.
Yeah.
Right? And how when these missiles started flying and the orbs started appearing, that got a lot of attention on me real quick.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm caught between two minds. One is, I think even the book of Matthew, it's something like nobody knows
today
the apocalypse other than God.
Right.
Paraphrase.
It's a good paraphrasing.
But yeah, nobody.
I don't know, man. It just the whole thing is very sketchy to me. I'm looking through the chat and everybody is pretty unanimously saying nobody said that they do know who this guy is. So that's strange to me. If I said, has anybody in the chat ever listened to Joe Rogan? It would be brrr. Everybody would have listened to a Rogan podcast at some point. For this guy to get Rogan on the show, occultist says, I never heard of him till now. Yeah. Weird. Ronnie, I've never heard of this guy. Once again, I just want to reiterate my lack of awareness of this dude is by no means an indicator of his success or how big his show is or any of that shit, but it's kind of remarkable. I've never, I've heard of him, don't really like him. Okay, all right. Huh. I have no idea who he is. People have heard of him. People have heard of him. I don't know. Very strange. So I'm just going to use that for now to set the mood before we go a little bit further. Maybe we have another clip to get into and we can start. Oh, here we go. Bledsoe fans. This is from Fringe, right? Okay, so we're going to be talking about this divine feminine. So we'll play one more clip and then we'll get into this. Fringe is coming on the show soon for a really important conversation, specifically specifically surrounding the divine feminine. And I want to say real quick that some of the pushback I've gotten on who, this divine feminine, goddess, etc. A lot of people don't like that I mock the divine feminine. And a lot of people say things like, I wouldn't say a lot, but I've gotten a few people saying this, and I want to treat this fairly. If there is a bad version of the masculine, and we know what the bad version of the feminine is, wouldn't there be a divine version of that? I'm trying to frame this, in the most gracious way possible. But I don't know. People go, well, there was a divine feminine and it was removed from the Bible. It was obfuscated and hidden and kept from us, which is Gnosticism. Now, I'm not going to say that you can't speculate that at some point something's been hidden from us, but just recognize, like, once you delve into that territory, you're now leaning on your own understanding or interpretation of a thing that is esoteric and ancient and hard to understand, and you're only here for 80 years and we're retards. So I'm not saying you can't understand it or that it doesn't exist, but I'm just saying, we're warned to lean not on our own understanding because we're fucking retarded. So, okay. Is there room in the conversation for like a good version of feminine energy? I don't know, man. It's a hard one to answer. The Catholic Church would maybe, if they were going to steelman that argument, say Mother Mary. And even if you remove the aspect where some parts of the Vatican are trying to say that Mother Mary is now the official co-redeemer, which I've seen the article that says she is now the official co-redeemer, but then I've seen people say that that's since been redacted or changed or it didn't stick or whatever. I don't know. But like, let's say that maybe you could point to Mary as some sort of version of the divine feminine, because within the spiritual realm, among the Elohim, high-ranking spiritual entities, there's an absence of any femininity. But I mean, it seems like women didn't really exist until one was made as a counterpart, a partner for Adam. So are women unique in that way? And there is no representation among the ranking Elohim, and that otherwise these spiritual beings can just kind of present as women or present as men, which is gay. I don't know, man. But we're not saved through grace because of Mary. So that seems like a pointless conversation. Unless, you're some Catholic out there and you go, actually, Mary agreed to have Jesus, so you are, which I would say the way to the Father is through the Son. That's explicitly stated. Jesus Christ is the narrow path. That should be the end of the conversation as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, man, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's worth focusing on in any meaningful way. But for whatever reason, it is one of the massive focal points of the UAP phenomenon. And I think we're going to see a lot of that. We're certainly going to see that in the conversation that we have Fringe this coming Wednesday within the Galactic Federation of Light. This supposed conglomeration of representatives from all types of alien races that are zeroing in, and they're trying to save Earth from, the satanic forces and the Greys and what have you. There is a huge emphasis on the divine feminine. And then you look into this idea of what Bledsoe is talking about, and Bledsoe says that the lady, this is very interesting. I don't know if I still have the tweet. I'm not going to bother finding it, but I did. If you go on my Twitter, you'll see me pushing back against this idea where one of the Bledsoes is saying, the lady is Mary. The lady is Mary. And that she has many names. Like, yeah, I bet. Isis, Ishtar, Hathor, probably what, Hecate, the list goes on and on. It's a deception. So, I mean, here, this is going to be relevant to that point. We have Fringe commenting on a Bledsoe video. She says, Bledsoe fans continually deny that Chris ever associated the lady and her bull. That's a weird, and her bull. Isn't a bull like a big black dude that bangs you? Isn't that what a bull is? With the Egyptian goddess Hathor. I could have sworn Hathor was, maybe I just made that association because of Thor. I thought it was a Norse deity. Yet here he is on Danny Jones' podcast number 212 doing exactly that. Now ask yourself, if Hathor is the Christian Holy Spirit as claimed by Bledsoe. That's right. He also claims it's the Holy Spirit. So that's the other thing too. Bledsoe is claiming that the Holy Spirit is feminine. Let's let this rip. Hold on. Let me pull it back.
You know, the lady in Egypt is depicted, Hathor, with bull horns or a bull next to her. Many countries, the lady is always depicted as with a bull, or either have bull horns with a solar disc, or beside the bull.
What is this, Danny Jones shit? This is Danny Jones show. It's interesting. There's a menorah in the bottom right-hand corner. That's a bit of a tell. The Jews have struck again. Weird, man. But he claims in other videos that it's the Holy Spirit.
Beside the bull. So it goes hand in hand with her throughout many countries. You know, the lady.
So the Bledsoes have been going nuts, right? Obviously, there's this big video that he releases, and I think it's in that American Alchemist episode where he releases this image of the orb, and he's showing you the orb flying around, and he's saying that there's a coded date within the orb, and that date is like 0305 maybe, so people are looking towards March or something like that. I don't know. So they're setting dates. We're looking at 2026. You know, there's some kind of big reveal. Some sort of knowledge is going to get revealed to us. And a huge aspect of it is this divine feminine. Here, let's go here to another post from Fringe. And this is the younger Bledsoe, who is hopelessly burdened by divine feminine energy, which is what has made him fat and gay. So she says, Ryan Bledsoe goes hard against alien abduction experiencers and gray aliens, saying only beings of light are permitted to manifest in our reality. That's crazy. That's a crazy statement. Yet these drawings from the family look suspiciously like other descriptions of grays, and one might surmise the initial contact was very similar to the abduction. So I'm not sure exactly what she's talking about, but that first paragraph really caught my attention. So we make this big here. You can see, by the way, bottom right-hand corner, we pointed it out in the previous show, he has like, I don't know if that's Isis or some shit, but one of these divine feminine. And of course, over his shoulder, big old picture of some goddess, you know, the goddess. And here we go. Let's let him talk. Let me make sure this is all the way pulled back.
Oh, come on, Ryan. You're being so harsh. Believe the witness. Believe the experiencer. No, I don't give a shit. I don't know. I just don't find any genuine reason to accept that any of that stuff is real. It was, you know, all of the abduction stories where they take your semen or your eggs, or, you know, they put a baby inside of you like some, you know, genetic hybrid program. And that was the only thing of the time. And we stood out. We were like a voice in the wilderness saying, hey, actually, you know, it's spiritual. Maybe you guys are all wrong. Maybe.
That's a crazy, I didn't know. Well, like I said, I don't know anything about these people. So it seems what he's implying is among all of the harrowing testimony of alien abductee victims talking about the Greys taking, you know, semen and impregnating and all this shit, which we've had Karen Wilkinson on the show, and she has had a pregnancy that mysteriously went missing. Later on in life, she would be introduced to the infamous black-eyed children, a set of black-eyed children that I believe, if I'm remembering the story correct, if it is Karen Wilkinson, I could be wrong. she knew that they were hers and that these aliens were trying to get her to interact with these black-eyed children that are hybrid because they were just off. There was something wrong. So this guy is saying that he doesn't believe those experiences and that he thinks he's got it right and that the phenomenon is strictly spiritual. So he must be another one of these guys that, it's an interesting point, Brent. Clearwater as in Scientology, right? Yeah, I'm out here in Florida. Clearwater, Florida is famously the headquarters for Scientology. Interesting. But yeah, so this guy is saying, yeah, your experiences with this phenomenon are not correct, but my experiences are. And I can tell you that they didn't take your coom and they didn't put a baby in you. That shit didn't happen. I don't know what he's insinuating. Either it's a hallucination or these people are liars. But in fact, this phenomenon is wonderful. Very interesting.
You guys are the freaking crazy ones. We're not crazy. This is real, you know? NASA's knocking on our freaking door. Whether it's a gray, whether it's a reptilian, whether it's a mantis, whether it's X number of thing that people, say that they experience. This is psychic phenomenon. This is mental phenomenon. These are
so all the people with implants, all the people with pregnancies that get taken, all the people that wake up after an abduction experience and they're fucking naked or they're in a completely different place. People end up outside sometimes. There have been instances where people have actually seen the Greys in waking life and then didn't just like suddenly wake up, like they left or they chased him off or what the fuck ever. Now, obviously, these are intangible, unprovable stories. So are all of the stories of this, voluptuous breasted homosexual man. And so if we're dealing in a realm of intangibles, we have to suspend disbelief in order to engage in the conversation in any meaningful way. So let's do that. Okay, fine. I believe them and I believe you. It is a ridiculous idea that you have had a set of experiences and you know that yours are definitively true. The nature of yours is positive and everything's good and everybody else's experiences are incorrect. What a fucking retarded thing. I just can't imagine being somebody who's in the position of trying to win people over to the intangible side of an argument, right? Like, hey, guys, believe me that I've experienced some kind of communication with the divine feminine, the lady, who is Mary, who is Hathor, who is any number of, Sumerian goddesses, you fucking name it. But don't believe those other guys. Don't believe those other guys. And I got to admit, too, it's just like you had communication with what you, I imagine, interpret as like divine, godlike, life-changing, special, I don't know, you name it, and yet you look like that. Am I wrong? I don't know. Like if God spoke directly to me, like if Jesus appeared to me and I had like a real, and it was like, I don't know, he gave me a mission or something, I'd be like, first and foremost, running miles. First and foremost, cutting the chocolate out. We're not doing the chocolate anymore. First and foremost, getting a sweat on, getting in the sauna, getting in the gym. There's no way the goddess chose me for her mission in the state that I'm currently in, right? She must have like a buff version of me in mind. There's no fucking way I'm going to be in communication with a thing that holds the secret of the universe and I've got tits. Tits. There's no way. There's no way. If Jesus came to me right now and it was like imparting this, I'd be like, Lord, I'm not worthy. All I want to do is be your servant. How do I do? If I'm going to do something, if I got a mission, got to get rid of these tits. There's no way I'm going to look like that. But like the goddess must be embarrassed. My champion has tits.
We're not physical beings walking around in our world, right? The only beings that have the permission and the capacity to walk around in our world are the beings of light, the ones that the Bledsoes have been shouting at the rooftops about, the ones that
the Bledsoes have been talking about. Those are the only ones with the rights to exist in our realm. So all of these cryptid stories where people are experiencing Dogman or fucking reptilians or Mothman or any of these things that are horrifying and somehow chimeric hybrid creatures of the night. You know, hey, you know what though? Maybe he's onto something. Maybe what he's not taking into account is that the Greys are real, but they're not just spiritual beings, they're biomechanical. I mean, look, we're dealing in the realm of, once again, intangibles. Intangibles. We've suspended our disbelief, chat. Have we not? Have we not? Okay, Mr. Bledsoe, the only beings that are allowed in this realm are the ones that the Bledsoes have been talking about. For the Bledsoes decree it so. Okay. What about things that aren't spiritual? What about things that are, flesh that can be inhabited by a spirit? Perhaps a biomechanical automaton that jerks you off. How about that? Is that on the table? How about a hybrid chimeric creation that's fucking 10 feet tall and has the body of a man but the head of a dog and it's incredibly strong? And, what about those? What about a Nephilim? How about that? How about a flesh and blood entity that is a hybrid creation? Huh? Does that make sense? Perhaps? Will that do it for you, Mr. Bledsoe? You fat-breasted faggot. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. It's just frustrating. It's what an air of confidence to talk about this, once again, intangible situation. Listen to what he says.
Around in our world, right? The only beings that have the permission and the capacity to walk around in our world are the beings of light, the ones that the Bledsoes have been shouting at the rooftops about, the ones that we've been dealing with.
Wow. Wow. What a pompous homo. What a pompous homo. Imagine, just because you've been BF'd by some spiritual entity, the same way you feel so convicted about what you just said is the same way people... My grandmother was a lifelong abduction victim. Fringe is a abduction victim. Karen Wilkinson, abduction victim. There is no shortage of these people, and they're all saying this shit is evil. It's demonic. They put a baby in Karen Wilkinson, and then she carried it to whatever term, and they took the baby out, and then reintroduced her. And look, maybe that story's crazy for you. We've suspended disbelief in order to have this theoretical argument with this big-breasted homosexual. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, if we're going to believe you, Bledsoe, then we got to believe everybody. And these people who have had this experience firsthand would have a real hard time, number one, saying that they were they were beings of light, or that this is non-physical. Certainly some of it happens in a spiritual realm. I'll grant you that. It does seem to be the case. But man, this divine feminine thing, I think, is the culmination of, one of the big fun backdrops to conspiracy is that moment in the deserts of New Mexico or what have you with Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard. We've all heard the story, right? We know how it goes. We're using Aleister Crowley's works to summon into this realm an entity known as Babylon. And Babylon is a female entity. And this thing is supposed to usher in an age of feminine liberation and divine feminine energy. And then if you look around, everybody's gay now. Maybe it worked. And you see that element, by the way, of the divine feminine constantly. In this final episode of, or this spoiler alert for the Stranger Things episode, but I I gotta tell you, I was incredibly frustrated. If you watch the last episode, they're getting ready, the team, to go and kill Vecna. Vecna being the demonic monster, but really the Jesus Christ inversion, because does seem to be the Gnostic gospel. Vecna is the vessel for the mind flayer, in the way that Jesus is to God the Father. But the mind flayer in this instance is representative of the demiurge, because that's what the Gnostic gospel teaches. And so they're getting ready to go kill Vecna. And there's a character, his name is Steve Harrington. And he comes, out with looks like a 45. And he goes to like pull the slide back and check the chamber, and Nancy, who is one of the lead female characters, she is actually anorexic. She is horrifying in her visage. She is 90 pounds, incredibly thin, made of popsicle sticks. And when she sees him inspecting his firearm, she goes, whoa, what are you doing? You know how to use that thing? And he goes, yeah, I kind of know how to use it. I've used a BB gun before. And she goes, okay, maybe I'll take that from you. And she takes the gun, and then the retarded kid with no teeth goes, here, I got something for you, and brings him to a wall of guns and hands him a stick with a knife tied on it. And then the kid with no teeth takes a stick with a knife tied on it, despite the wall of firearms. You're going into a demonic realm, guys, to kill the Demon King, Vecna. But gun safety. What the fuck? But Nancy gets a gun. What? I didn't see the value in that at all. Why did you do this to this? It's the moment that 5 seasons are culminating in. 5 seasons have come to this point where you're going to go into the demonic realm and you're going to kill the fucking Demon King. But you can't. Gun safety. Steve, you don't know how to use that. You've only used a BB gun. You should have said, take 2. They're small. Give him another gun. Give him a bigger gun. It was so retarded. It was really, really an embarrassing thing to do in storytelling. Anywho, but Nancy gets a gun, right? There's one divine feminine. El, right? Like the prefix of Elohim. 11 gets a gun. There's another female protagonist, hero, right? She's the hero figure. The redheaded girl whose name I forget, that doesn't really matter. She is battling this from another realm. So she's the lead figure, female figure in that realm. Okay, there's 3 divine, feminine, goddess energy, strong boss bitch girls. Okay. Then there's another one. She's a lesbian. There's 4. And then, but there's still a guy, because the other guys don't count. They got sticks and knives. Those guys don't count. But there's one guy, and he can control the demons. He can use their power to control them. But really, it just means that his psychic powers are actually demonic, because he's tapping into their mind, because he's part demonic, because Vecna BF'd him. He got BF'd. And, and now it's inside of him, but he can use it now, which is an interesting tell on behalf of Netflix. It's like, what's that? Is sexually assaulted and the dad is absent and is tormented by demons, is gay? Wow, interesting admission. But either way, he has this thing, but he's gay. And the whole episode is about him coming out. So even the dude that does get to do some of the shit is filled with those divine, feminine, energies, and is gay. So what I'm getting at is there's no shortage of that. It really does make me believe that like they succeeded with the whole Babylon thing, and they've introduced it to this realm, because everywhere you look, we are subjected to male protagonists who are fucking retarded and useless. They're bumbling fools. but then their wives or whatever are like boss bitches, right? Think about any show that you enjoyed over the last 2 decades, and it's been that formula. Husband, bumbling retard. Wife, boss bitch. But it's okay because we love him anyway because he's, endearing. And it goes a little bit further because if you watch kids' cartoons, as I do, I have a 10-year-old, so we end up seeing the cartoons. You have that formula. There's a male protagonist, but he's a fucking idiot. And then his female counterparts are sword-swinging, badass barbarian bitches. Sometimes there is a guy who has some edge over the situation. He's gay. Every time, he's gay. Whether or not the show has the balls to come straight out and say this character is gay because it is a child's show, so some of them still have the decency to at least insinuate that he's gay rather than him just being an out gay character in a child's cartoon. The fact of the matter is still there because when it's insinuated, he's very soft and feminine. So it's just a dude who's displaying feminine energy, and he's usually more useful than the bumbling idiot male protagonist. Elohim says all the Marvel movies are like that. It's so gay. So maybe we are. Maybe we've been, blapped up by this divine feminine energy, this goddess energy, and it's all culminating in some big gay alien disclosure. But first, we have to let the Bledsoes prime you to accept the lady. Because she's Mary. Or she's, whatever. Hathor would be a little bit more alarming for people. Here, let's go to this. We have Red Panda Koala, who's actually somebody that I would like to get on the show. Because I think he has had a bit of an issue with Luis Elizondo. And I'd be interested in knowing exactly what that issue is. He hasn't responded to me. He does like my stuff. He does follow me. It would be cool to get him on the show. He seems like a cool guy. There's a couple of dudes in there. Red Panda Koala seems dope. And Tupac Cabra also seems dope. I don't know where those guys are as far as in their faith. Everybody's walk is their own. But I do see them pushing back against this sort of like status quo that's developed in the disclosure arena, which is Elizondo and a bunch of other homos, Bledsoe or Greer or any of these guys, and they do it in a really hilarious way. So yeah, I'd like to talk to him. We'll see. Maybe we can get that to happen. So this is from Red. Tupac Cabra is good. Oh, good in your opinion, or just has a good name? Because both of those are true. That name is really hilarious. Okay, here we go. So Justin, Elon Musk's statements on aliens. A quote, if I were aware of the slightest evidence of aliens, I would immediately post that on X. That's interesting. I think this is just really to highlight that like everybody's talking about it right now. It could just be my algorithm. Between that and the chick that got shot in the chest in Minneapolis, it's really all I can see right now. Aliens and ICE agents shooting people in the chest.
I can show you, if I was aware of the slightest evidence of aliens, I would immediately post that on X.
Yeah. That's good.
And
so the question is,
it would be the most viewed post of all time.
So I actually wonder about the U.S. public if they would that's interesting, go back to their sports scores the next day.
Yeah. I think everyone would want to see the alien.
Yeah.
Like if you got one.
Well, like
there it
O.J.
is.
Simpson.
Fast way to increase the military budget. We found an alien. It seems dangerous.
That's right. Unify the world.
They don't have an incentive to hide the aliens. They have an incentive to bring up show the alien.
Yeah.
Because they would not have any more arguments about the military budget if they seem a little bit dangerous.
Well, I can always hope.
Oh, that's interesting.
I can always hope.
I mean, we've got 9,000 satellites up there. We've never had to maneuver around an alien spaceship. Yet.
Why did you laugh so uncomfortably? I imagine doing a podcast, having a conversation with Elon Musk must be torture. The way he has like those really dramatic pauses as if he's about to say something profound and people go like, that's how you know he's a genius, because he pauses for such an unnatural length of time. So, he's saying that if he had any evidence, and we've seen that, right? Every time a president gets in, it's like, if I know If they debrief me about aliens, you guys are going to be the first to know. People are saying maybe there's some sort of admission there because now the running speculation is that they don't come from space and thereby your satellites won't have picked them up. Although there does seem to be a huge, aircraft element of this. They're shooting lasers at the nuclear warheads and shutting it down, or they're in the air above the White House, or whatever the hell the case may be. So, whatever. I think it's a reach to say, like, he's actually saying they come from other dimensions or inner Earth. I don't think that that's what he's saying. I don't know what he's saying. I don't know that it matters, really. I'm much more convinced these days that Elon Musk is a fake genius in the same way that Stephen Hawking was a fake genius. I believe that. I believe Stephen Hawking was a fake genius. I think it was an actual retarded guy trapped in his body, and he would be wheeled out against his will, and someone else would control the speak and spell. And I don't know if he had a consciousness in there or if he was just, just a husk. But sometimes I shudder at the idea that he was trapped inside that crumpled visage, unable to object. They used to say that he was at Epstein Island, which I think is very funny, actually. But it is the greatest troll in history. Because people say Stevie Wonder is not blind. And there's video out there of Stevie Wonder catching a falling mic stand. And I suppose there's other things that add to the theory. I wouldn't call that a conspiracy theory, really, right? It's like everything is a conspiracy. It's just a theory. It's a fun theory. I suspect that he's not blind. I've heard enough things I don't remember or have the ability to recall them, but at some point I remember coming to the conclusion of like, I don't think he is, just giving off what I've heard. So that's a bit of a troll. That's kind of fantastic. I see Lord Nero says Michelle is a man. That's a good troll too. I kind of think that Stephen Hawking's being trapped inside a crushed soda can of a body, unable to object as they roll him out onto the world stage and tell us all that he's a super genius, that he has an intellect that you couldn't even possibly relate to, and then have him narrate documentaries about the secrets of the universe is kind of the funniest shit ever. The funniest shit ever. I actually love that. Helen Keller was a grift too. Yeah. Yeah, we're given these larger than life folks who have retardations of sorts. And then we're told like that they're remarkable people. And I actually really enjoy that. I think if we fell for Stephen Hawking's and we really believe that he was, just think about the way that Neil deGrasse Tyson looks. He's very funny, right? Like he's got the little afro and he's got really plump cheeks. They're like shiny, almost like Santa Claus cheeks, like black Santa cheeks. And then, and he's got that funny little mustache. And he's another guy that just looks so weird that we go, the reason he looks weird is because that's what a super genius is like, right? Super geniuses are never just regular ass looking dudes. Super geniuses are strange, like Elon Musk. When Elon Musk is on Joe Rogan's podcast and he pauses for 45 uncomfortable seconds before he responds to a question, we go, of course he does. I don't do that because I'm not a super genius. So of course he does what I don't do. This all makes sense. And that's really all it takes to fool us. So like we look at Neil deGrasse Tyson, through any other context, if he was a server at Applebee's, we'd be like, this guy looks like a fucking retard. This guy looks so stupid. This guy looks so stupid. But he's a super genius. So we go, no. That's just like, yeah. Being silly, either looking silly or sounding silly, is just part of being a super genius. They're not like us. That's really all it takes. That's all it takes to fool us. I enjoy that aspect of humanity. I don't think it's disheartening. I almost think it's endearing. It's kind of cute. That's all it takes. Let's see what else we got on the matter. This is interesting. I wanted to watch this. I want to get the thoughts of the chat. We have a video of an alien gray. This is an old video that is being revitalized currently. And it's because there's been a deep dive done on it. And people are claiming that based off of this shitty, grainy video, this alien gray is real. It doesn't move like an animatronic. It's too advanced. It would be too hard. We lost the technology. Here, let's bring it up. Actually, no, I don't like the way this is laid out. We want this. Where is it? Not that stupid shit. This one. Boop. And we'll read this. This comes from John Stewart, not that one. On X. Big ouchie to the UFO skeptics. Egregious use of emojis after that. Quote, John, final pass. Because this needs to be said plainly, anyone calling this a garage puppet, meaning what we're about to see, has disqualified themselves from the conversation. What we are seeing on screen violates the mechanical limitations of rod puppetry, cable puppetry, foam latex masks, silicone skins, and first-gen animatronics. Full stop. The entity performs simultaneous compound articulation, jaw actuation during near 90-degree cervical rotation, followed by a clean return to the neutral without counter-rotation, operator lag, rebound oscillation, or material memory artifacts. That alone exceeds what most studio rigs can do convincingly, let alone hobby builds. Fuck. Is it me, or did none of that mean anything? Chat, is this real? What the fuck did that mean? Nice jaw actuation. Gotta pay more for that. Yeah, what did any of that mean? Man. That was a lot of words that didn't really land home for me. Fuck, man. This is so stupid. Okay, he goes, now let's bury the argument completely. The eyes. Each eye changes geometry. Oh, I was on a roll there for a minute until I came across the word geometry and was defeated. Each eye changes geometry independently, breaks bilateral symmetry, then relocks into coordinated alignment. Foam collapses when you do this. Silicone creases. Cable systems telegraph tension paths. Masks shear at the orbital edges. None of those failure signatures are present. All right, geez, man. It's a lot of fucking words to say it ain't a mask. To fake this practically would require independent multi-axis micro-servo clusters per eye. Isolated control channels, custom that's not even a word. Elastomeric? Custom elastomeric skin tuned for non-linear deformation and real-time coordination. The kind of system you'd expect from an R&D lab or top-tier effects house after months of iteration. And even then, you'd still see tells. This he is just like, this is what I expect the debate with Timothy Alberino to go. Toss a couple of perhaps in there, and that is going to be what that episode sounds like. He's going to wow me with word magic to the degree that I won't be able to rebut any of what he said for lack of understanding it. This, perhaps, this fucking means nothing to me. Jeez, man. CGI? No. There are 0 edge halos, 0 motion vector smearing, Zero temporal discontinuities. Discontinuities? Fuck. Zero lighting mismatch. No compositor would let this pass unnoticed. And no one adds CGI. This cleanly without leaving fingerprints. So let's be clear. This outperforms rigs used in major feature films. It does not match any known puppet failure mode. Puppet failure mode? What the fuck does that? It does not behave like fabricated materials. The skeptics aren't exposing a hoax. They're broadcasting their technical illiteracy at full volume. That deserves like a soy jack face. This isn't debunked. It's uncomfortable. Fuck. Was this written by Grok? All right, anyway, here, remember everything that was said here. Now, I'm not an expert. I don't even know what fucking 75% of those words meant. But I'm going to watch this, and I have a feeling just based off of this, I'm not going to buy it. Dog Mythbusters could have made it in 2005. Let's see. Let's let it go. We'll see what it looks like.
Bonds. There's very little he can do. There's no direct connection between his space and the biocontainment area. That's the aide stepping in on the right.
Dude, you got to be shitting me.
The medical staff should be there by now. They're slow in responding. Bonds.
That's it? That's it? This could be a child's toy, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think it's AI. I do kind of remember this being around a long time ago. But this could be a child's toy. This could easily be a puppet. I don't know how this guy so passionately eliminated all of those possibilities. I don't even know what they were. Genuine latex. Dude, this is unremarkable. I mean, albeit I could see, you could show me a video of an alien today and I would not be able to tell if it was real. But the idea that people who are dismissing that are doing it because it's uncomfortable? No, it looks like shit. It looks dumb. This isn't impressive. I don't know what this is. Impressive? I don't know if it's a mantid. The insectoids are supposed to look much more insecty. Whenever you see like an artist's rendition of somebody's experience with the insectoids, they look very, very much bug-like. But even who cares what it's supposed to be? It doesn't look real. Gillen says it's a TopLobsta production. Yeah, you can tell it's real because it looks so fake. Agreed. But the non-linear discontinuity. That's a good point, First Lass. That's a good point. I mean, this could be real, but I could never blame a single human for thinking that it fucking wasn't. This is the dumbest looking shit I've ever seen. Sometimes I do like to think about that. Imagine in this community all the things that we've seen. Pictures of aliens, videos of aliens, pictures of UFOs, videos of UFOs, pictures of Bigfoot, videos of Bigfoot. And I do like to imagine, like, what might we have seen personally that we dismissed or scrolled past that was actually real? Like, isn't that kind of a fun little thought experiment? The Patterson gimbal footage, or any number of the Bigfoot videos out there. FJ Fool says this is so Somalian. As far as I'm concerned, this is the mayor of Michigan, is it not? But I do think that we've probably seen at some point, right? Just if we're crunching the numbers, I mean, if you're into conspiracy, you'd have seen a lot, just like me. So yeah, maybe at some point we saw a video of a dog man or a picture of one and it was real. But according to Bledsoe, this isn't allowed to, this isn't, this can't be. So that's how we know it's fake, because only beings of light that the Bledsoes are talking about are allowed in this realm. And so this is a fake. And I'm very sorry to burst your bubble. This is a non-linear silicone cord-driven animatronic with bioptical articulating orbital bones. Orbital, they're not bones. Silicone, 3D printed, bipedal, erectangle, spheroids. That's it. Case closed, homos. Let's see what else we got. That's Elon Musk. Oh, okay. This was interesting. I don't know what this is, but I saw that everybody's favorite horrifying monster of a human being, a Frankenstein creation, an unholy mashup of a gay man and Donkey Kong. Stephen Greer is back in the news. He doesn't like all of the excitement that's been going on around disclosure, and all the other people, Elizondo, the Thumb Man, and countless others, getting the credit for all these great revelations that cometh our way. Stephen Greer has inserted himself back into the conversation. He has stopped pounding the asses of men, and he has stepped forward to take the spotlight once again. Let's put this on. Share this tab. Am I sharing this? Are we seeing this? Yes. Okay, here we go. So let's read this. This is from UAP James. Representative Tim Burchett says President Trump needs to take the lead on UFO disclosure. Very fun. Very fun. Trust the plan. Patriots are in control. We've got to have the man at the top come out and say, we're going to release this stuff. I can't do. I wish I could do it. I want to do a good Trump impression so bad. So bad. We're going to release this stuff and do it immediately, not wait for Washington to hold a bunch of daggum hearings. So here, let's let the video speak for itself when the quotes just spoil it all.
Do you have a feeling for whether or not Donald Trump wants to make history and be the first president to finally open up and be honest about what's going on here, about disclosure? We've heard rumors about this. What have you heard?
Yeah, I think he does. He stated he did. It wasn't a campaign promise or anything. He was asked to come.
I'm sorry. Stephen Greer, why does he look like that? Why does Stephen Greer look like he just got beat up? We did an episode a while back. It might have been the second to the last time that we had the boys from Hidden in Plain Sight on. Fantastic show. Highly recommend going and checking them out and supporting them. Those guys are fucking hilarious. I think we might be able to get them down here at Bohemian Grove this year if I secure this venue and then remind them that they're invited in time. But they showed us pretty explicitly that Stephen Greer is a homosexual man with a gay sex app account. Amanda's in the chat. She says Stephen Greer is a kid BFer. May well be the case, but we know he's at the least he's an adult BFer. As we found his account, if I'm not mistaken, I think we saw his dong. We might have seen his dong. There might have been a picture that we couldn't share on screen, but it was like from his gay app account, whatever, that Hidden in Plain Sight showed us. Official dong drop. We couldn't show it. I don't even think you could show that on Patreon. I don't know what the rules on Patreon are. I'm just not trying to lose all of our membership money for showing Stephen Greer's dong. It looked a lot like his face. Horrifying. Horrifying. You know what it is? It's the ratio. It's the amount of space between his upper lip and his nostrils. It's tremendous. You could stack at least 3 ballpark francs in the space between his nose and his upper lip, which is crazy. It's quite a bit of real estate. And that is unsettling. And that's why I say he looks like Donkey Kong, because if you look at Donkey Kong, he's got like that protruding muzzle almost. But in this video here, he's lumped up. Hot dogs are a valid unit of measurement, guys. I don't know why you would, I don't know, recoil at that. I mean, that's, everybody knows how big 3 ballpark Franks stacked on top of each other is. Not lengthwise. I mean, stacked like sandwich style. I could see how that actually, now that I've said it, I could see how that was confusing. But yeah, Stephen Greer looks strange here. It looks like he's been beat up. Looks like he's been beat up. Stephen King has the same thing going on. Oh, yeah, a tremendous upper lip area, right? I have an uncle whom I love dearly, but he's a like kind of a liberal Democrat leaning dude. And he will often post the shit that Stephen King says about Trump as if it's like a sick burn. But I'm like, Uncle, Stephen King's a pedophile. You cannot consider the burns of a pedophile. But I leave it alone. It's just not worth it. Y'all know how it gets with family. All right, let's let this go.
A couple times on the campaign trail, and sure he does, but you know, as I call them, the war pimps at the Pentagon have his ear, and they're going to try to fold this into anything else but giving us disclosure, and that's what's going to have to happen. We've got excellent testimony. We've got professionals like Dr. Grill. We've got legislators. We've got eyewitness. We've got photos. But with AI, who knows anymore? We've got to have the man at the top to come out and say, we're going to release this stuff and release it and do it immediately and not wait for Washington to hold a bunch of dadgum hearings.
Do you have a feeling for...
What the fuck? I clicked on this because I wanted to hear the sage words of Stephen Greer. And instead we listened to this fucking yeehaw say the same shit that we read in the caption. What is Stephen Greer? For the love of God, what is Stephen Greer's thoughts on the situation? In times of trouble, I need to know what Stephen Greer thinks. This was hugely disappointing. Chat, I'm sorry. I thought we were going to hear words of wisdom from the very off-putting mouth. The filthy orifice Stephen Greer calls a mouth. I thought he was going to use it to soothe us in these troubling times. He said nothing. Nothing at all. Unbelievable. Well, we have here from Tupac Cabra instead, a white woman. I'm sorry, guys. I know that was a letdown. Dude, that was crazy. We let that yeehaw talk instead. Well, here we have a white woman with 10 facts about alien abductions, which is fantastic when you have facts about an intangible, improvable. That's when people go, 10 facts about Bigfoot. Huh? What? What do you mean? How do you have those? Who gave them to you? Who bestowed upon you these facts about alien abductions? You bitch? How did you get those? All right, well, let's see. Maybe, who knows? Maybe we agree with them. I might agree with them. Let's make her big. This is Tupac Cabra, though. This guy crushes. He's got some of the best AI videos that he mashes up with like hip hop and R&B, and it's like Stephen Greer and David Wilcox and Luis Elizondo at the club, and it's like, it looks so good and it's so well done. It's like music video quality. Typically AI slop is not interesting to me, but Tupac Cabra's AI videos fucking slap, dude. Fucking slap. He is he's attacking the disclosure situation with memes, and it's a lot of fun. And then every once in a while he drops something interesting, like this white woman and 10 facts about the alien abduction phenomenon. So let's check it out. Excuse me. 10 facts about fiction. Thank you, Joey Green.
We do not know with any certainty exactly what these entities may be. Fact number 2.
Oh, that was fact number 1, was that we don't know what the fuck the facts are. Fact number 1, we don't know what this is. All right. No, I agree. I agree. I think it's demonic. I think it's in opposition to the kingdom of God. But this is a good start. That's funny as hell.
At least some of the aliens are liars.
Ooh, that's good. I like that. I would say that is true because for a long time, and I know I was like, what? True? Facts? We're dealing with facts? In the same way that the climate change narrative has been bullshit, the same can be said about the aliens. And what I mean is the aliens have come forth and told like countless people for a long time that like there was some impending apocalypse that was right around the corner. They've given people dates and shit like that, and those dates have come and nothing's happened, and clearly then that was a lie. So I will say within that realm, we can say that's a true fact about the alien phenomenon. Just like when they said that climate change back in the 80s was going to make it so that the shores of California would look like this by 1998, and that by 2005 or some shit, Florida would be underwater. Like that was a lie. True facts about a false thing, right? So in that way, I would actually agree with that. I'm agreeing with the white lady. Go on, white lady. Keep going. What's number 3?
Through the past decades, the aliens have made various predictions and promises and given a number of very specific warnings.
Dude, okay, guys. Hey, chat. W for me, huh? W for me. That's exactly what... Dude, I'm fucking on my shit. I didn't watch this video ahead of time. I got no idea. You know how it goes. I like to watch them with you guys. That's why I didn't know that Stephen Greer wasn't going to talk at all. But yep, that's exactly... Man... Guys, toss some W's up. Don't be rude.
Things about impending events, and you and I all know when we look at the record of what's happened since then that very few of these things and none of great consequence have come to pass. Fact number 3. In encounters, the human's perceptions are controlled, as are the human's conscious memories. Fact number 4.
That's true. Oftentimes these things will present as a thing. Like I've heard stories where it's like they'll present as lovable characters from childhood shows. They'll present as other people, all types of shit. And, they definitely have the ability to control your mood to either send you into like an unbelievable fear or to soothe you. All of a sudden, they'll have like one of them come in that's like kind of pretty looking. That's always funny. That's how you soothe us. You're like, you wake up and you're like, this alien abduction is terrifying. Oh my God. And they're like, calm down, calm down. And you're like, no. And they're like, call in the hot one. And the hot one comes in and it's like, relax, dear one. You've consented to this. And you're like, fuck, yeah, you're right, I did.
4. False memories can overlay and disguise the actual events of an encounter. And even with regressive hypnosis, the abductee may recall false scenarios.
That makes the whole regressive hypnosis thing, like people really lean on that shit like it's the end-all be-all. No. There's too many instances of people remembering complete fake shit. Gray titties always calm me down. Shout out you, FJ Fool. Where is the hot one? There, because sometimes the people will look at like the tall Nords, which I think I hear Alberino has an affinity for. I think he's just fallen for the hot ones. I think I'm going to say that to him. Is it true, Timothy Alberino, that you've fallen in love with these aliens?
5. While we report our experiences honestly and sincerely, we are really reporting alien-controlled information to the research community.
Amen, Christopher Bledsoe. Chris is endearing. Ryan is an off-putting fatty. Ryan, fatso. Fatso is a word that we should all bring back. Hey, fatso. He's definitely fallen for it. So you're being this is the thing that happens to people where they have a run-in with a spiritual entity or a flesh and blood entity, fatso, Ryan Fatso, because these things are physical often. Often it was a word I didn't have to toss in there. It happens. It seems to be physical. for an undetermined amount of instances, fatso. But you know, you have this remarkable experience with a thing that you previously didn't think existed at all, and that amazement causes you to then just whatever you say, big-breasted Nordic alien. When some tall white walks in with a set of heavies, you go, "Oh, the heavies are altering my perception of reality and discernment." So the tall white goes, "You're special, and an event is coming in about a week or so, and it's going to be a big deal. You got to warn everybody about it." And you go, for a second, you go, "That doesn't seem right." And it just shakes its giant heavies. And then you go, "Definitely got to warn people about it." And look, going back to that point number 2 or whatever it was about all of the predictions, a lot of, and Fringe has experienced this. I've experienced it, I believe. I do think that I've had that happen to me. In fact, it was Fringe who I was talking to on the last episode, and then afterwards I told her, like, look, some of these things actually did happen to my grandmother, and here's a story that happened to me, and she goes, "Oh, yeah, you've been fucking abducted, dog." And I went, "Ah, cool." But we both have these dreams, and you know, she attributes them as coming from these fucking things, of a great tidal wave. But some people remember that the tidal wave was coming on a specific day, a giant tidal wave that was going to wash away the entire East Coast and all this shit. And then those dates, they come and pass and nothing ever fucking happens. So they have historically given us a bunch of things, you know, doomsday predictions. And then it doesn't happen. Z-Man says, "What that gray mouth do?" It's very little. Not that it does very little, but it's very, very small mouth. So in that sense, yeah, very little. Okay, here, let's continue on. White woman. What's fact number 5 or 6? What are we on?
Fact number 6.
Thank you.
There's a serious element of human involvement in the abduction phenomenon.
This is also true. Very often people will get abducted, and when they either have memories or they go through the faulty, you know, process of regressive hypnosis, they'll remember military presence and the presence of medical and science personnel. Science personnel, don't think that that's an actual phrase. Maybe there was a better way to say that, but people of science, men of science being present.
In addition, of course, to the very real alien participation. Fact number 7.
See, that's interesting, because what does Ryan Fatso have to say about our own military's involvement? Huh? What say you about that, you large-breasted homosexual? Huh? Because very often it seems that there is some real element of military personnel, men of science, and men of medical science who are present during either the abduction thing or surgeries that take place in the presence of also the aliens. So what say you then? Big gay Ryan Fatso. Retardo says, if aliens are telepathic, why can't they just telepathically download you download you porn and make you jizz yourself? I mean, I think in some instances that actually does happen. That actually does happen. I remember hearing alien abduction stories, I think even within Whitley Strieber's book, Communion, of climax of a sexual nature. Do grays have wieners? No. Unanimously across the board, it seems the answer to the wiener question is no.
Whatever else it may be, the abduction agenda involves quite physical aims and procedures that tend to belie the idea of a primarily...
Damn, belie? What does that shit mean? Chat, what does belie mean? That's a great word. Probably incubus and succubus related. I would agree. Scott are good. I think there's a huge connection there between the succubus and incubus phenomenon. Shout out to Nathaniel Gillis, whomst I would love to have back on the show soon, and I think we should try to reach out to him because he's got a lot of fantastic information. To wait, it means to wait. To belie is to wait. To blathe. What's that from, guys? To blathe means to lie. What is that from? 10 points to the first person who knows what that's from. Soul Explorer Roasting says, I used the CE5 contact app and all I got was a lousy hand job. FJ Fool! Banger! Princess Bride. Sorry, Z-Man, you fucking suck, dude. FJ Fool wins. Honorable mention. Zach says Lord of the Rings. Zach, nope. You retarded. Retarded. All right, here, let's get back to this white woman.
Spiritual motivation on the aliens' part. Fact number 8. All of the things that I've described to you so far are part of the aliens' physical aims and procedures. But that isn't all there is to their motivations. The agenda also involves the long-term psychological programming of the abductee. It targets, among other concepts, our social and personal relationships, our sexuality, our political ideas, and our religious and spiritual concerns. Fact number 9. With their advanced technology, the aliens can create virtual reality scenarios that are usually absolutely real to the perceptions of the targeted abductee.
Which also, she's saying virtual reality, situations. I do wonder if some of this, because there does seem to be an element where there's a removal of the spirit. So I kind of look at it in the same way as people who astral project and talk about the silver cord situation that has tethered your astral body to your physical body. Now that astral body has the ability to not only enter like seemingly a different realm, but also it is what you would use, I think, to remote view our own physical earth. So this is a thing that's not tethered strictly to to the physical realm. Could some of these things be happening in a realm that is different than the physical realm, but still very real? Because she's calling it hallucinations. Maybe. It seems like sometimes there's a very real sense of the body being taken, and then other times there's a sense of the spiritual body being taken. And so I think that conversation should be on the table.
Fact number 10, and this is the last on my short list of facts. It is a fact that the aliens show a mysterious interest in the human soul.
There you go, bitch.
Now, this part of the phenomenon is so rarely discussed in public that I don't think we really have a good pool of data to proceed on a serious discussion, but I'd like to bring it up because it is a fact that the interest is there and mysterious, and we should be concerned about it.
I really like that last fact. They have an interest in the human soul. That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I also wouldn't know where to put it, but this looks like it took place maybe in the early 2000s, just given the quality of the video. And by now, whatever the scientific community didn't do in regards to research on this phenomenon, because of either lack of evidence or unwillingness to explore evidence that would have, resulted in ridicule or a labeling of pseudoscience, by the greater scientific community, whatever work hasn't been done because of those barriers has been done through podcasts. And I'm being very serious. I think shows like The Confessionals, which is, to this day, it's my favorite podcast, and it's not a personality-driven show. Nephilim Death Squad can very much be a personality-driven show. We have our moments where we're talking about a topic and we're doing deep dives, what have you. But a lot of it is because it's a silly good time with me and Top and now with the addition of Matt. The Confessionals is not like that. Tony is a great host, but what you're listening to is the testimony of non-performers. These people, they're not. Now, of course, sometimes it happens. Sometimes you'll interview a podcaster, but for the greater portion of the show, greater percentage of the episodes, we're dealing with people that do not want the spotlight, that have no show, that are not even charismatic in some cases. And oftentimes the best and most compelling episodes will come from individuals who are a real suffer to listen to because they're not performers. but the information embedded in their testimony is so compelling that it fucking doesn't matter. So through things like that, I fucking like that. There's like a noise that happens periodically when I'm here at the shop at night, and it sounds like somebody opening that front door, and it never is. But through shows like that, what you're left with is this body of, albeit anecdotal, evidence, and patterns emerge. And so, on the soul aspect of things, there are a multitude of episodes that have to do with some element of someone's testimony being, well, this thing was trying to remove my soul. It happens like all the time. So I would say she's correct. So the scientific community can't really touch that. You know what I mean? Because the scientific community, you're already dealing in the realm of pseudoscience if you are talking about UFOs in the 90s and the early 2000s. And obviously, those shackles have been thrown off in recent years. But it's another thing entirely to then go into the speculative nature of the soul and then say that they're trying to steal the thing that science in many instances refuses to even acknowledge is real. Through podcasting, you don't have that barrier. It doesn't fucking matter. You're just listening to these people tell you the same thing over and over again, and it is data chunking. And, you do start to see these patterns emerge, one of them being this interest in the soul. The other one that I would have liked to have seen brought up there on that list of facts about the intangible, non-provable, phenomenon that is alien abductions is the hybridization. The hybridization angle. It does seem that there is a real effort to do that, which a lot of the times makes me draw the correlation between, the whole Genesis 6 narrative of the sons of God intermingling with the daughters of man and then begetting this hybrid creation called the Nephilim. And then you look at the cryptid phenomenon and there's hybrids there too. And then you look at the alien abduction phenomenon and there's hybrids there too. I would have liked to have seen some mention of the black-eyed children, although I don't know how much of a talking point that was all those years ago. Whenever that was. The black-eyed children are a really fascinating element of this entire phenomenon. Doesn't get brought up a lot. Not going to get brought up in these disclosures, that are going on. Bledsoe says, Fatso says it's not even real. That's not real. Only beings of pure light, as the Bledsoes have decreed, can come into our realm. Look at how fat and gay I am. A wild thing to do to throw that entire thing out just because you had you know what it probably is? I would really wonder if Ryan Bledsoe is single or if he's married with children. Because if he's single, then the only thing that has ever made him come is that ethereal goddess entity. And when a beautiful spiritual goddess entity comes to you and makes you ejaculates, her word is bond. Word is bond. So I could see that as being that doesn't even require an illusion spell to be casted. Oh, he's married? She must not be making him ejaculates. All right, let's see if we have anything else on the matter. And then who I don't know if I'm going to stick around for much longer. We've been going almost 2 hours now. I think I got some more stuff though. I got that lady getting run over and shot. I don't mean to laugh at that. That's not very funny. It's just like, oh, this is actually something. Where did it go? I think Chuck from Guam sent me this, and it might be. He sent me a lot of stuff lately, and I don't know if I have. Alien spacecraft will enter Earth's atmosphere. Baba Vanga. Is this even true, though? Okay, this is great, actually. Thank you, Chuck from Guam. This is wonderful. We're looking for a little bit more content. We got this instead. By the way, Chuck, I saw what you did there. Thank you very much. I saw what you did there. I was a little bit taken aback, but thank you. Chuck knows what I mean. Okay, so let's put this up on the screen here. Baba Vanga. who's somebody I'll bring up on the show on occasion. You guys know how I know like 10 facts within the conspiracy realm, and I seem to bring them up every fucking episode of Nephilim Death Squad ever. This is from Dabu. It says, quote, alien spaceship will enter Earth's atmosphere. Baba Vanga predicted 2026 would bring World War III and more. You know what's interesting, though? I could have sworn, in fact, I do believe I have it written down. Don't I have give me 1 second. Yep. Okay, so I have my notebook from last year's shows, or it might have been 2024's shows. Let's toss this up before we get into it. Okay, so the keys to this brood, windswept house, Father Malachi. I don't even know what the fuck that means. Gay satanic pedophile pipeline. Didn't know that was a thing. I must have forgot what that is. Sam Tripoli. Give me 1 second. I know this is Jussie Smollett. Manufactured race war. Bolshevik manufactured revolutions. After securing Moscow, the Bolsheviks. How many times have I fucking espoused this one fact that I got from Europa? After securing Moscow, the Bolsheviks passed anti-Semitism laws, making discussion of Jewish subversion a criminal offense. Influencers like Lily. Remember Lily? She said the N-word one time, and then all of a sudden she became based, likely being artificially propped up by X. That's the thing, is you no longer need to be a willing operative. The algorithm will boost you any fucking way. Hey, this might be it. Nope, this is facts about Donald Trump being a time traveler and potentially the Antichrist. This is not going the way that I thought it was. Macro aggressions. I love that guy. Who's that? Charlie Robinson. Fucking Charlie Robinson's the shit. Man, I really want to find this because I've talked about Baba Vanga before in the context of her having an alignment in prediction along with Blavatsky and Bailey, I think. And I think it was about aliens. Okay, Baba Vanga predicts alien contact in 2025. So, that's interesting. Oh, hey, thank you, Ricky Ace Rose for the $2 super chat. He says, J.R.E. Metzger based last episode. He just needs Jesus. One of the homies hit me up and was telling me about it as a listener of the show, and the way he framed it was like Metzger bought us up, and I was like, what the fuck? We got brought up on Rogan? Not the case. We did not get brought up on Rogan. I don't know how I misunderstood that. Oh, this is along with Cliff High's notes. Cliff High's given definition of a melee. You guys remember the Cliff High times? Good times. This was on the drones situation. Oh, so it was in the drones notes. Oh, okay. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is what my fucking notes look like. A complete psychopath. Okay, so Baba Vanga predicted alien contact in 2025. Helena Blavatsky also predicted that the new age would be in 2025. Alice Bailey said that 2025 was going to be the new golden age marked by the return of Christ sometime after 2025 AD. Okay, so I'll give them that. We still have time for that one. And the new age is of Aquarius. But specifically that Baba Vanga thought that we were going to have alien contact. If I'm not mistaken, there was also something relatively similar that came out of the Blavatsky Bailey camp on the topic of aliens. It's actually kind of fascinating to go back and look at this. Orphic egg, it's all in the egg, baby. I think the egg is also part of the divine feminine. What's this? That's tools and processes. Interesting. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going down a little bit of a memory lane. I haven't flipped through this schizophrenic notebook in some time. And like, if you look at my notes, one page just says cancer, AIDS, SSRIs, blessed by his blood, counterfeit resurrection equals reincarnation. What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. Frazzle drip, a vision. What role Freemasons play through the ages, internet archives. GHB, Diddy. Yeah. Egotistical, morally compromised, Pizzagate. What does this even mean? How do angels bang women? Moloch and Baal in today's context. Babel equals Stargate. Jeez, man. This is really like, if anybody ever found this is actually kind of like remarkable if anybody found this. 09A, 9 head fallen angels, 9 members of various pantheons, ruled over all others. Crowley serves Lucifer and his Augustus Council of 9. Arian is Atlantean, which is Nephilim. Nazis disassembled and moved the Temple of Zeus. That's another one that I can't shut the fuck up about. Man, that's kind of fun, huh? Anyway, yeah, so, there was supposed to be these, this, prediction that 2025 was supposed to be the big moment where we got these things, and then we didn't. Here we are, it's 2026, and a lot of these things didn't come to pass. A lot of the things that Cliff High said were going to come to pass didn't come to pass. And now I think it's just worth reiterating one more time that the Bledsoes now have that 2026 is going to be it. Erica Kirk is a succubus. Thank you, Dave. I don't know. I wonder what happens to the spirit or the mind of a man who is constantly on edge, waiting for an apocalyptic prediction to come to pass. I guess I'm really asking that about myself. I spent much of my youth waiting for any date to come and pass. Brandon Biggs is nailing stuff, though. The Last of the Mohicans. What's that mean? I love that movie. The soundtrack from Last of the Mohicans is incredible. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, bum, bum. Cliff High is an awesome name. My name is Lemming Falls. That's interesting. Lemming Falls off High Cliff. Yeah, most of my teenage years. How long at what age would you have had to start doing a thing in order for you in your latter years to be able to say, I've done this for my whole life? FJ Fool just got chills. Dude, that fucking song is incredible. The theme song, the score to Last of the Mohicans is incredible. How many francs could Raven stack between his eyebrows and hairline? That's not nice. Probably like 6. I'm thinking a strong 6 or 7. I'm thinking my brow is twice the length of Stephen Greer's mustache region. I wonder if there's something to be said about the idea that you're going to have these predictions. They're supposed to come to pass in 2025. It hasn't happened, but there's supposed to be like 13 months, and each month is supposed to be 28 days, and there's supposed to be 13 constellations, but we omit Ophiuchus, the man in the snake. He will seek to confuse times and seasons. It's strange that we've gone to 12 instead of 13. What kind of an effect would that happen? Carmen San Diego says that's a cover of a bagpipe song called The Goel. The Goel. Did you ever listen to Steven when you first started learning about aliens? Steven? Which Steven? Stephen Greer? No. When I first started learning about aliens, I would say my big introduction to the reality of the alien phenomenon would have been based off of the testimony of my grandmother, which led me to Whitley Strieber. And for a number of years, it's interesting because in my youth, I never saw the confliction between what I had learned from Whitley Strieber's book of basically testimony from abduction victims and how that was in stark contrast to the Galactic Federation of Light's message that I also had become pretty aware of and was, for a period of time, absorbing in the form of YouTube videos. Because the Galactic Federation of Light is basically telling you that these aliens are our saviors. But Whitley Strieber's book of testimony tells a fucking different story. The theme song from X-Men also slaps, yeah. Yeah. David, where's your grandma's picture? I don't have that's different grandma. Black grandma was abducted, I think, by Jewish slave ship owners. White grandma, and technically black grandma is like great, either great or great. Abduction victim grandma is just grandma. She's on the white side. Not great grandma, not great, she's just grandma. Still Reserve says, I don't know how to put it in words, but I'm pretty good at seeing things people don't. And from my lived experience, the little season is the best explanation that I've seen so far. There's a lot of fascinating stuff in it. But I will admit that much of my intrigue in the conspiracy community is like gut driven. So for whatever reason, I'm just not pulled towards it. And now it's actually gotten to the point where it's exhausting, where like if the little season is real, then, I'm just going to be a dude who's wrong. Because it's just gotten to the point now where I'm like, that's just strange. I've talked about it before. There's not many things that I've experienced in the conspiracy community that people fed speculate. Like if you fucking say you don't think it's true, that community hates you. But then if you do start talking about it, that community accuses you of co-opting it and steering it and being like a cognitive infiltrator. And then if you, like when I say they hate you, like they come out of the fucking woodwork like crazy, send you emails, call you a faggot, all kinds of shit. It's weird. It's the only thing that's like that. I would love to do the fog machine. We haven't done the fog machine. I'm hoping that we do it for Bohemian Grove. We'll have to test it beforehand. I'm just really scared of setting off the smoke alarms and ruining thousands and thousands of dollars worth of equipment, and also Matt's shop, but that's secondary. That's secondary. What's my favorite Nickelback song? I don't like the song Animal. It's too much of a departure from Nickelback. Photograph used to really choke me up as a kid. But honestly, I think that my favorite Nickelback song isn't truly a Nickelback song. It's a Chad Kroeger and the dude from Slipknot collab for the song Hero that was on the Spider-Man soundtrack. And they say that a hero will save us. I'm not gonna stand here and wait. It's a fucking banger of a song. Yeah, Hero crushes, dude. Hero crushes. That song used to get me fucking pumped. But Photograph choked me up when I was a kid. Because I had moved around a lot. I was like raised by like a bunch of different people. So it was always like some friend group that I had moved away from or some family member that I didn't see anymore. And so Photograph used to fuck me up, dude. What's your favorite Mark Morrison song? Don't know who that is. Don't know who that is. They have a song that starts off with a double bass from the drummer that slaps. Who's that? Slipknot? How does Photograph? Look at this photograph. Every time I do, it makes me laugh. I had like one photograph I would remember in particular. It was like a birthday that I actually had some of my friends over. And like, this, she wasn't my grandma, but this like, yeah, my grandma took a picture of us and we were all like cracking up. I don't know what the hell was so funny. But yeah. It's getting sad. All right, I'm going to bring it in for a landing. This was nice. I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to do this debate with Alberino. I'm going to ask Alberino, what he thinks about the lady. And Hoobastank is GMO music that destroys testosterone. What's that? Perfect Person? Yeah. My mom had that album. I think it was called The Heist. Maybe. I don't know. I just remember in the video, the music video for Perfect Person. Or no, The Reason. It's called The Reason. And the reason is you. Damn, that's a banger. Come on, fuck you, dude. That's a banger. But yeah. So we're gonna talk to Alberino, and who knows how much we're gonna get through. My main goal is to just start to unpack the multifaceted deception in all of its facets. Talk about it as much as possible, all these different aspects of it. I don't think there's going to be too much of a debate because he already fucking came out and said alien greys are demonic. She's like, okay. So you think the same thing. It's no fucking point. The Weezin, not the reason. Hoobastank is a knockoff Incubus. I never wanted to smoke weed to Hoobastank. Never wanted to do that. I got to get cat litter at Publix. Yeah. Yeah, never wanted to, but Incubus always makes you want to smoke weed. Drive is a good song. It is. All right, you fuckers. Yeah, they're definitely not as good as Incubus. Hoobastank's not as good as Incubus. That's crazy. Cat litter is the worst. Yeah. It's the worst part of owning cats. My one cat's in heat. How bad do you think weed is now? I don't know, dude. I've been liberated, thank God, from weed for I went on the cruise in May. So June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January. It's been 8 months. It's been 8 months that I haven't smoked. That's the first time I've counted it, I think, in a while. I'm sure it's bad, dude, but I'm fucking done. I'm free of it, thank God. Because I'd been smoking since 16 years old, and it was just consumed my life. So I'm just pumped to not fucking have that be anymore. Nickelback looks like Jesus and a golden retriever made it. Yeah, I guess that's true. Thank you for the W's, guys. Yeah. Hugely pumped, bigly pumped that I'm not smoking anymore. And that was my main thing. My addictions were always so lame. It's like chocolate and weed. Other people are like, fucking heroin, dude. I'm not saying that I wish to be addicted to heroin, but I'm just saying nobody takes you seriously when you're like, I have a crippling chocolate addiction and weed. Imagine going to an AA or a fucking whatever, a Narcotics Anonymous meeting because you're addicted to chocolate and weed. It's embarrassing. Tell you to leave. So, but I'm really pumped to have been stopped. And thank you for all the people who say things like, when people say that the show, after all the craziness I've said on this show, but Nephilim Death Squad has brought them closer to God, brought them closer to Christ, and helped them to understand. And anytime somebody says our show pointed towards Christ and that helps somebody get closer, I go, fuck yeah, dude. But also, it's a great feeling when somebody says, I stopped smoking weed because of what you went through. That's cool. That's cool too. Sky's the Limit says, I'm pumped for you, man. I've been here since day one. Thank you. Yeah, thank you to all the people. There's a lot of you guys I know Scott's out there. Scott came from the Ravens watch. That's crazy. I don't know if he's watching still, but I know he he was there since the Ravens watch, and that's a long fucking time. So thank you guys. But yeah, man, anytime somebody stops smoking weed, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. It was hard for me. It sounds so what would you call it? Soft. It sounds soft, right? Like weed. Like, dude, no. It is. They say it's like I remember you know what I used to say? Probably a lot of you guys have said this too. It's not addicting, but it is habit forming. It's addicting as fuck, dude. I found you since NDS day one. Hell yeah, man. Doc Shelley says, is it true you suck dick for chocolate? Only once. It's Dubai chocolate. No shit, though. Have you guys ever tried Dubai chocolate? Don't. You won't fucking stop. It's really good. Weed is very addictive. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, the weed nowadays is hardcore. It is. It's really crazy. It's not regular chocolate. I mean, sorry, I was thinking about Dubai chocolate. It's not regular weed. It's not regular weed. Z-Man been here since the $2 tier days. Yes, Z-Man, I got to show Matt the music that you made for him. I haven't gotten around to it because I don't like when things are about Matt. I like when they're about me. So if you want me to show Matt something, you got to tell me it's about me. That Dubai shit from the Arab Mart was trash. No, you got to get the brick of, it's like a hefty ass chocolate bar. Mike from Missouri says, if you guys are trying to quit weed, pray to Jesus to remove the desire from your heart. Makes it way easier. Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, 100%. Listen to what Mike's saying, because that helped me tremendously. There are a lot of things I was able to achieve on my own, but it seemed like I could never shut the door permanently. But giving it up to Jesus seems to work. 8 months is the longest I think I've ever been not on weed. I ain't been on weed in 8 months. So like I've stopped for pretty considerable chunks of time and then a fucking door just opens up again. But like this time it stayed shut. I ain't been on weed in 8 months. Hallelujah. All right, guys, I got to go. Stop it. Stop keeping me here. Cut it out. We'll be back tomorrow. We're talking to a pastor, I believe, a Baptist priest who believes that I think more the sons of Seth. I don't know who it is. Somebody I think Top was getting into an argument with. He has a tendency to do that. He'll be like, we're going to argue. And then he'll be like, let's go on the show. And the next thing you know, I see somebody get, booked. And it's somebody he was arguing with on the internet. So I don't know to what degree he was actually arguing, but it's just been a small disagreement, but it's something that he wants to talk about. So I'd be interested to hear the actual sons of Seth, because there are people whom I really love who believe in the sons of Seth argument. Xerox is one of them. Xerox, who has stopped gooning. W's in the chat for Xerox, our brother in Christ who believes in everything he sees on the internet, just like me. I do think that he leans more towards the sons of Seth. But Xerox is great on scripture, and also big fan of him. So, I'm retarded. What do I know? If somebody was like, they're not big, I'd be like, all right, fine. If they proved it to me. All right. We'll see you tomorrow for that episode. And then, I guess Monday for a early-ish morning, The Raven. All right. Peace out. Love you guys.